Power to the people. We are back to do maintenance. You are tuned in to Keep It Clean. This is the one-off series. We got some stuff to talk about. We only got one thing to be honest with you, because that's what the one-offs are for. I got my brothers in the joint with me. My boy Ray, what's going on, man?
Man, gonna rock like you know, you know. Power to the
Yeah,
people.
yeah, 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 yeah. Like crack when it came
You
in.
it came in,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Say the whole thing. The whole
Yeah,
thing,
man.
not a
You know,
piece of it. Yeah. We got
you
my
know.
boy Ev in the building. What's going on, brother?
What's going down? What's going down? How y'all doing today?
Everything is love. And we got the good brother Eastside Bodega in the building. What's going on, man?
What's good, man? Look,
Yeah,
if you understand racism, you understand patriarchy. There's no need to argue.
Mop
okay.
sticks,
That's
cleaning
it. Yeah.
supplies. We
Yeah.
outside.
We outside. We here. Before we get started, quick housekeeping. Episodes for the one-offs drop on Fridays. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at the Keep It Clean Show. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube. Thank you. With that
And we
being
hit a
said,
dub. Thank you so much for that. We hit a dub for followers. Shout out to y'all that have participated up through this journey up into this point. Suggestions, comments, feedbacks. Because of the conversation and the way it's going, I got to meet homies like Bodega live in real time, and that's the goal of what it is. So thank y'all for that.
yes, yes.
Appreciate it.
We did crack that 100 today. So we do appreciate y'all very, very much for tapping in with this journey up to this point. We're gonna keep trying to grow this and keep trying to push these conversations, man. So today we are talking about the T app. It has been going nuts. Everybody is talking about the T app, the T app, the T app. They spilling the tea. I thought Twitter got renamed at first, but no, no. I'm like the T app. They did it again, but with that, so that's what we talking about today, the T app and all of the happenings with it. And with that, we will swing it over to Eastside Bodega. My brother, the floor is yours.
All right. So, if you've been living under a rock or you're just not sure what it is because you're not on social
Shout
media,
Patrick.
the T app is a woman only app designed to help and protect women from men who have either been accused, have criminal records, maybe other red flags, or don't have reported criminal records but have been harmful to the female community in some way, shape, or form. The app itself was created by a person named Sean Cook. Sean Cook is a former product marketer for places like Microsoft and other big tech companies. He created the app after his mom was catfished by a man with a criminal record. The app was launched in 2023. It became popular in 2025, as most things do when Black people start getting involved and start talking about it themselves, and then was eventually hacked about a week ago, 2 weeks ago at this point. Um, and all of their information, the tea was spilled, as they say. So,
To
Mhm.
be specific, the information of the women who signed up to be on the app, because if I'm understanding, you have to present your ID to prove that you are a woman to be on the app, correct?
Yeah,
yeah, so you had to go
mental
through some
information.
sort of verification process, selfie upload, ID upload to get access to the full version of the application. And then when it was hacked, well, hacked, but when it was
Yeah,
hacked,
we need to
all of
keep.
that information was leaked. So,
So mad women's addresses and personal information is floating around on the
They got
interwebs.
people's literal
yes,
ID photos floating
yep.
around, man. Yeah.
Got you. Okay. All right. Well, that is what we have. Thank you, Bodega. Appreciate you. And we're gonna start with you, brother. What do you think about all of this?
It's interesting. Security seemingly wasn't in top priority despite the intention to protect women, which is a bit of an oxymoron because my thought would be if I was creating an app specifically for women to protect women against men, the very first thing I would do would be prioritize the security of this application because men are men. Somebody's gonna be mad. Somebody's gonna have more than enough time to do a little 1-2 buckle my shoe on the computer and hack the app. So like That's where the focus should have been. Also, though, men, you should learn to mind your fucking business. If an app is created for women by women, or not for women by women, well, for women by a man, but is designed for women, that's not your place. You shouldn't be over there. You really shouldn't be worried about the information that is shared in that application. And to be honest, the application wouldn't have a need to exist if men weren't being men, which leads to that little thing that you see at the bottom. If you understand racism, then you understand patriarchy. The only difference is that you as a man, you benefit from one and not the other. No matter where you think you are on the totem pole, I can tell you where you actually are, my nigga. Small
Okay.
overall piece.
All right, for sure. Ray, gonna go snake
I'll
draft,
start.
so I'm gonna go next and then Ev.
All right. I'll start with, it seems like all the men that didn't do this type of stuff wouldn't have even known about this app, because it's never a thought process, or I hadn't even heard this be spoken about until the data breach happened, which lets me know all the men comments I've been seeing, all the feedback from particular men is like, it's either A, you were probably one of the people on there, or would have been soon on there, just based off of what you were saying, if you can't wrap your mind around why this was created in the first place. um the research that I put into it, I want to start with, at least from my mindset, for the intro piece of it. But this is a well crafted app. Like, when you research what its capabilities were, and just this also adds to that patriarchy piece, like the fact that it had to go this deep into detail for an app just for women to be protected. You able to submit photos that were sent to you, so it will run like a data background search and can cross examine faces. It has access. It was like a one stop shop to get all the information that a lot of women have to look up in the first place just to go on about
Mm-hmm.
that. So like it was a very, very well built app. And just because you can't mind your business or handle yourself accordingly, whoever got this whole shenanigans started as a man, bro, you ended up setting this potentially up for failure because of the lawsuits, man. I think I would want the same thing that Sean Cook wanted. If that was my mom, I would try to set something up like that, and then this is what y'all turned it into. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna echo most of y'all's sentiments for the most part. I'm very in line with the fact that patriarchy is killing all of us slowly and trying to be reinforced and rehashed and revamped at every turn, from everywhere, from media to the goddamn office. So understanding all of the issues that come with that, I understand the need for the app. Understanding the need for the app, like, it's cool. So I'm like, all right, cool. Women have an app to try to protect themselves against some of these weirdo niggas out here. Cool. That makes sense to me because I understand the climate, right? And then when the app is when the app is hacked, when the app is hacked and women's information is leaked out onto the internet, which makes them unsafe, we're back to the point of the app for me. It's like we completely close the circle. Like, women need safety from men because due to patriarchy, as Bodega said, somebody did something about it to try to create an app to fill that need. Men found out about it because they didn't have access or control of, and then sabotaged it, and in the process made mad women unsafe, which gets us right back to the point of why we needed the app in the first place. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think the app was necessary. I think they fucked up in not securing the databases. Like, obviously, like if you gonna have people upload their photo IDs and all of that, that should be as secure as possible, so that it can't just be hacked by whoever and have that information out. So I think the app was necessary. I think hacking it is lame. I think if you complaining about being on the app, do better. Do better. And even in a certain sense of, like, even if it's some folks just being messy on the app, or they not even getting into actual charges, this, that, and the third. They might just be saying somebody ghosted somebody or this, that, and the third. Okay. Can you not explain yourself? Do you? I would like to see this. This is my thing, and I'll close with this. For all of the outrage about all what happened or what could happen potentially from the backlash, or I might not get dates, or people might outcast this, that, and the third, blah blah blah. We haven't seen it. This app been running for how long? Two, two,
Yeah.
3 years.
3 years,
2022. Yeah, 2.5,
and
3 years.
we're just now getting to a point of y'all forecasting about the dangers of the app that's already been around for 2 to 3 years, and we don't have really valid evidence of like somebody being like, yeah, bro, this shit fucked my whole life up. Y'all gonna, yeah, we don't believe you. You need more people. F.
Yeah, I try to come up with something different to say from everybody, but I'm gonna take a different approach as the resident tech man. I'm gonna work in reverse order. First, let's define what was really happening. One, the app didn't get hacked, and that's why I'm putting all blame and accountability for everything that we're here on the creator, because he had it hosted on a public database, a public host. He was on Firebase. Again, this is somebody I code develop. I've done all this, so I know some of the inner workings. He's put it on a publicly hosted, so any common person who had any regular SQL database knowledge could have went and did that.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to say, because see, they're putting it in the real true terms of hacking, of to make it sound like complex, when this was literally like a high schooler job of the hacking, of the quote unquote hacking. Like literally all you needed was a couple SQL statements, a couple wheres, a couple source to get all your information, and you're gonna pull all of that. And that's why I want to say one thing, like these are the problems that you need to think of in the beginning before you even release an app. You need to think of, and again, his approach was, I'm doing this for my mother. So the thinking was in immediate to me, not like you said with forecasting. But when you put something out there that's going on a public platform, that needs to be, especially when if you are a big wig who's worked in those big billion-dollar companies and entities, that is a part of it. QA, like that's a part of it. Testing those, stress testing, and going through all of those factors. So I want to say, first off, apologies to everybody who got their information put out there, because you were trying to have access to a safe space, a safe virtual space, to assist you in your everyday life. And because of missteps and missed opportunities, here we are. And not to say it as a men thing in that one, but it's because that's just ownership problems right there. But to expand it now back to with that, it's very unfortunate that we do get into this situation, as everyone has stated, the patriarchy, men, point blank. If you weren't one of those men doing those things and engaging those acts, you wouldn't have the need to do it. As Ray said, if you was if the good the guys who doing what they need to do didn't even really know about it until the unfortunate of it. So
I'm,
go ahead.
I'm looking up what you're saying. Oddly enough, every place he's been at has been hacked. As a software engineer, because he used to work for Salesforce, he used to work for Shutterfly. And it was like, man, maybe it's you. Like, maybe it's
And it's
you,
just,
big
and that's
bro.
the thing is that, and that's another thing too, of with COVID made cybersecurity become an extra big thing, because everything went remote, everything went virtual, everything went cloud. Everything being cloud based, you have to have that security. So that's why for me it's very annoying, because it's like it's I
It,
don't
it
want to say
wasn't.
grade school. I'm never gonna say grade school because it's a complex thing, but it's kind of like entry level mistakes. That's an entry level mistake in a way.
I mean,
Like it wasn't that many steps for him to take to prevent that. That there was no
Or,
reason for that to go that way.
To be
I
two
mean,
or
years
like also
in,
yeah.
one of those he should have known. Like this
yeah, I'll put it this way.
is
In tech terms, I'm gonna know exactly what they probably did. They looked at security as tech debt, meaning something that's low hanging fruit that we will get to later because we're too busy doing other things,
And
and we
that's
don't have the
yeah.
capacity of having probably the leg room and manpower to do all that
So
work too.
Yeah.
it's kind of like that high risk of you take the risk of not securing it, get it out there, and what you recoup, you'll get the team to go put together that specific security mechanism. Trap,
And see,
trap.
right, and this is your thing, right? That sounds great, but this is the problem. The minute you put it out there, it's a
Yeah,
100,000 people probably already trying to find out how to get into it. The moment it's out there, because people just love to. When you had that power, that ability to hack into something or get into something, it's like a rush. It's like, bro, it's like a nigga in a dope game. Not to compare, but it just is of, bro. I can go and break into somebody's security. I can do a beanie on a nigga's technology.
yeah,
People
yeah,
are
yeah.
waiting for that. So that's why I say it's like that's the number one priority that it backfired because you trying to get the money then saying you're gonna recoup, but you already too late to get attacked.
I'm of
Because
the
once you're not
opinion right
secure,
now.
you're not secure.
Go ahead,
I'm of
Bodega.
the opinion right now, looking
Oh,
at looking at like the app reviews on the Play Store and whatnot, and some of my heart tell me, even though it says women's names, is like, nah, I think there's some dudes out there went and made accounts just to go
Oh, a hundred, a
make
Oh,
it
hundred
for
there.
percent,
sure.
a
Once
hundred
once
percent,
Gwen was called, oh for sure.
100%. And like the kind of piggybacking off of Ev's point of security should have been first and foremost. There's two sides of the security piece. There's also you have that aspect of like the coding, doing the backbone, building the robust infrastructure to kind of handle the requests, all those kind of things, and then also making sure that it's not hackable. But then there's the other side of like privacy laws. So like I know niggas think that the US is like this wild west of personal identifiable information, and like there's some southern states that really don't have PII laws, whatever case.
That's
There are
true.
many states that do. California, CPRA, CCPA, the Virginia, Colorado, Connecticut, Utah, Texas, they all have privacy laws, data handling laws. Illinois specifically has a biometrics data and ID specific laws. This app is in violation of them all and in violation of FTC regulations. And so like this might have been like a backyard project that you did because you were looking out for your moms or whatever the case. But again, you put something out to the public. The amount of laws you violated in the span of like 2 years is crazy. It's nuts. They all have high fines. They can all be punishable by jail time, depending upon who, what, when, where, why, and how. Like I just don't understand where their head was at in the management of this app. The moment you added more than one person to the app, it should have been a quick like, okay, I need to get my ducks in a row.
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
yeah,
So I think okay, so we all agree on they took some missteps, or they definitely took some missteps in the creation and in the security aspect. But we do also all agree that the need for it is what is necessary.
it,
So go
Absolutely.
ahead.
if we're looking at it like things, to answer your question, Tim Spangler. So apparently you need a selfie to confirm that you're a woman. Benjamin Long can't run it. John GQ. This app is for women to attack and mischaracter men. I hope you're getting the answer just basing on some of these reviews. Damian Smith lying about men and easily suable. Joe West. I wish I could give an actual rating. But I was like, you got dudes commenting how they were trying to get onto the app just to go see what the women were saying. Yes.
Right. So this is what I want
Like
to, yeah, so that's what I want to get into. So
Anya
Bodega,
Desandri, Adrian
your
Harris, Kick Rocks.
your initial soliloquy on the racism patriarchy, would you like to expound on, I guess, like for somebody saying like if you understand racism, you understand patriarchy, what do you mean?
Okay. Um Excuse me if I ramble because this is gonna be a little bit, but you have pillars of exploitation that uphold the current system of profit. So we all operate in a capitalist society. And if you think that any country actually practice socialism, you're wrong, you're mistaken, but we can get into that later. All countries, no matter the form or who or whatever the case, they all profit off capitalism. Capitalism is a modern day interpretation of uh feudal lordship, kingship, all those type of things, from those bygone eras. In order to uphold capitalism, because the purpose of capitalism is unlimited growth and profit, someone has to take the fall for that. In the United States, that was primarily executed through slavery, right? So, slavery, you have a oppressed people who are extracting from the earth in order for someone else to profit. Those were usually slave owners, croppers as they call them, and all the other type of profiteers, right? In the modern day context, what that actually means is the person who's at McDonald's making your burger for 7.25 an hour, right? Or the person in Thailand who's making a shoe from materials that were sourced, and that shoe maybe takes $25 total to make, including the labor, and then get sold for $250, right? So you have to have mechanisms to uphold that. In order to uphold that, somebody has to be the victor. That's usually white men, white people in general, but more specifically white men. And so then that goes into the actual racism piece. So black people here in the United States or across the diaspora are considered bottom of the totem pole, right? You have Asians, you have Hispanics, you have other spicy whites like Italians or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? They all kind of fit somewhere on the hierarchy, and at the end of that hierarchy is black people. Then you have the mechanism of patriarchy, which then takes that and says men above women. Read your Qurans, read your Bibles, read whatever historic text you want, whatever. Usually there is a male preferential treatment in these places, in these books, and because it's ordained by religion, these are supposedly the ways that things are supposed to go. What that means is that at the bottom, very bottom of the totem pole is black women. So like you have the totem pole racism, black people are at the bottom of that totem pole. Then you have the totem pole of patriarchy, black women are at the bottom of that totem pole. And so there's an intersection where they are being exploited by far greater pressures to uphold capitalism than say you would experience as a black man. And I mentioned black people specifically because we're all black. This is what our target audience is. Which goes back to the point. If you as a black man, you watching this and you understand racism and you understand, yeah, them white folks, they be doing X, Y, and Z, they got the power, whatever case, whatever, then you understand patriarchy because men are preferred over women. Men got the power, they be doing X, Y, and Z, blase, blase. This is why when you hear uh transgender or gay or women or like any women or anybody who considers themselves queer, when they refer, you see in those Twitter comments or whatever case, and they refer to, well, black men are the white people of oppressed people, or however that saying goes, is what they're referring to. They're referring to patriarchy.
The
So
white people are black people is what
yeah, the white
you
people, black
people
people
are
are
black people.
black men, and black men. Well, shit. Fuck it. Let's go all the way. Black men, you don't have the tools, resources, or historical context to actually uphold the white supremacy that you attempt to do with women. Now, some of that was stripped from you by white men, you know what I'm saying? Breaking up black families, all those other kind of things, whatever. But like, y'all be having those submissive conversations and be living at your mom's house. Y'all be having those submissive conversations and your tires are bald. And you as a man, you don't even know how to replace your tires. Y'all be having these submissive conversations and you can't do anything for yourself. You don't even know how to wash your own clothes. You don't have the ability to actually oppress other than through violence, which is partly what that app was created for.
Add on to the accountability being mistaken for obedience by those particular black men you're also speaking about as well, because the full statement that I always saw, the straight black men are the
Yeah,
white
straight
people
black man.
of black society, like
Even
and
I mean, we can never mind. I don't even want to touch that subject. I don't
yeah,
even want to touch that subject. Like
um
Why not? Hold on. Why we can't?
because the subject talks about the way that some queer men utilize patriarchy to mimic black women and the way they present themselves. And I don't want to touch into that topic, but if you look at comedians and the way they represent black women, and then you look at some of those queer men in the way that they mimic women mannerisms, you'll see a lot of similarity between them.
I see where you're
But
going.
I don't want to
I get
talk
you.
about that
No, I
though.
get
But
you.
like,
I get you. I get you. Um. Okay. So you said a lot. You said a lot. I'm still processing a good amount of it, but I do. I'm in line with a good amount of it. Also, I guess if all of these things are they're not understood because we have the backlash that we're dealing with right now. So I guess that would be the question then. What do we do, or how do we go about, I guess, you know, furthering this conversation that, women have been having for a long time, men have been also tagging along to have for a long time, but it's like clearly something's not fucking getting through. So like, how do niggas unpack the patriarchy for our own, or unpack the patriarchy and the capitalism to then work for our own benefit, not for it to work for our benefit, but for us to figure out how to circumvent it for our own benefit.
you want me to go first, or you just
No,
want me to
that's
say
just the
what?
room. That's
oh,
for the
that's
room.
for the floor.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's for
yeah,
the floor.
it will start with the accountability first and foremost, because a lot of these people are within our circle, and we have to be honest with ourselves about that. And it may not be your immediate circle. When I say circles, just probably within an associate's reach, right? Could be one of the homies, but that's their associate. And we, as black men, have been failing to address that for a long period of time. Like knowing that there's certain traits that are being displayed in the complaints of the women, and with them aiming to get away from certain parts of the patriarchy, we know some of these things that why this app was created is probably within the arm's reach of us, and we haven't really said too much about it to that particular person, because we do process as men, whether it be, man, I'm not sure where this will go, because it may not be the easiest conversation, you may not be trying to deal with that, or all the way into processing, you might have to cut that homie off.
Mhm.
And in the essence of cutting off, you get those isolated thought processes that will continue that because they can't take the accountability that is them. And at the same time, we also miss out on helping correct the course, in engaging in those moments. So I think it starts with at least addressing the fact you might know somebody, and how you know them, figure that out, go from there.
I've told I guess to take it even further, I've told all my homies, look, bro, if your name come up in some unsavorable activities, you know what I'm saying, that get told to me, or get to or it come, I'm coming to see you, and I ain't got shit to talk about personally. Is how, like, because men sometimes, most cases, only seem to understand violence because that is how they carry out, like, when you talk about like why
Okay.
Sean created the app, and you start talking about like criminal records, and then you start talking about the various forms of abuse, and how those forms of abuse usually start emotional, turn physical. You speak one language, my nigga. You speak one language, and you speak that language pretty well, and you've allowed outside things to further reinforce that language you speak. So like I can speak that language too. We can get at you, for lack of a better term. And some plenty of brothers are just misplaced. A lot of them know exactly what they do. And they rely on our silence. They rely on our inaction. They rely on the current status quo of things to keep them safe. I was just talking to somebody about their past and how nothing happened. And it's not just the silence of men. Women are silent too, but oftentimes how we actually see that women usually just reflect what men do.
Mm.
And so if you as a man are correct, you have way more chance of meeting a woman and her also being correct just as a result of the energy that you put out. But you foul ass niggas. I'm sorry, you got a lot of bleeps to do, but you foul ass niggas, we can get at you. It's not a problem. It's not a problem at all.
Yeah, I think that I do. I hate that that has to be the line, but that is the line. I abide by the sentiment: people only respect money and ass whoopings, and I think that's also informed by patriarchy and capitalism to a degree, right? Obviously, but in the same token, if that's the only language that I can speak to you in, and you're not interested in trying to speak a different one, that all of these women, all of these other men, all of these movements have been here trying to say to you and show you and get on the board, and this is this word, and this is how we, if you don't want to learn, yeah, we gonna get at you. It is what it is. I could, because yeah, bro, like it really is that simple. It becomes a thing of where I can't, obviously we can't rely on folks to do it with the from the goodwill of their heart and shit. We can't rely on folks to do it for the goodwill of their other brother or their other sister that could be in danger or whatever. So it's like, yeah, you are continuously damaging the community and you're not trying to be accountable for it and you're not trying to learn about how to switch it. Outside of just kicking you out, what do we do?
At least get back to you got to get back to telling people they lame, man.
That's true
It's
Like
not
too.
enough though, because like
it
lame
may
chick.
not, but no, what I'm saying, we not doing that enough to start with. We got to the sensitivity piece of it too. To me, also kicks in this conversation. People even getting to the point where instead of addressing the person that's doing the action, you get in your own head, tone policing yourself, and every other thing that comes with today's style of conversation. That do happen, man. Like get back to shaming somebody
I
for the
think
dirt that they do.
That's
I hear
literally
you
the word
at
for
the
shame. Yeah.
I hear you, but at the same time, at the very same time, when you have the push of the red pill movement, when you have the push of the motherfucking president, when you got these other pushes that are verifying this behavior as cool, calling that dude lame, don't do nothing to him.
them niggas is
Now,
not checking their tone.
They
They not checking their tone on that
is
side.
that too? And it's something to what everybody said in the combination. It's way more of the men not doing that outweigh those guys. But we are all, and I'm saying we because I say us four are a part of that, men that are not. We're all at a point where in action, I think one of y'all used that word where we, like
Yeah,
Ray, when you said it, we haven't done enough. Like,
Yeah.
because we are the
because
start.
I'm not. And let me be clear, because I'm with tone checking, because and what I'm saying is, even if it's not necessarily just saying the words, I'm of the belief that there's a lot of people that have never been punched in the face. That could be physically, metaphorically, emotionally. There's a lot of people that get comfortable being the way that they are because they've never had to have that moment where they understood the line in the sand and they crossed it. So across the board, we've now gotten to where not only do most of these dudes not even know that they crossing that line, they comfortable telling you about your space. And we've gotten to the point where you are the problem if you address it.
I ain't gonna
So
hold you.
I'm with y'all, as like I can see you about that, but there's been a lack of just even addressing someone for being lame.
I
There's a
ain't gonna.
lack of shame for being lame.
I mean, that's true, but I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not giving niggas that much grace. I'm not giving
And you
anybody that
shouldn't.
much grace.
You
And
shouldn't.
what I mean by that is I think the percentage of men who would be genuinely shocked that, like, oh, this is the line you shouldn't have crossed, might be 0.03% of the world. I'm of the firm belief that most men, especially the niggas who do get those type of things off, know exactly what they're doing. And they're
Yeah.
relying on us to be like, cool. They're relying on family to be like, cool. They relying on, you know what I'm saying? They even you take that further. You can report, a lot of this. You can report it. The
And
police
it's
can have it on file. It can go to court, and
Nothing
niggas will
happens.
still be like, yeah, nah, but you know,
yeah, I think yeah. So because that
like,
yeah, I
what
think
do you do? What
Can
do
I
you do in
ask?
that case?
go
Because
ahead.
I want to ask a question that, and not everybody processes the same, and not everyone has came up in the same regards. But while I hear you on you feel like it's 0.0%, I think it's also the 0.0% of the responsibility, because I I I also would add there's a small segment. I don't even want this to come close to the majority of it, but there is a small segment of the dudes. Sometimes it could even be us, where it's just we would say something along the lines like, man, I don't see that person's not in my circle, and then we cool and cruise control right there. Like, not necessarily going to look for it, but being in that space like, man, none of my immediates do this, and I don't see none of that. So we end up isolating ourselves from the conversation sometimes too, inadvertently, not intentionally. And that, I would ask the question to you, saying that, should that be sought out? Like, should check the paperwork? Should we be seeking out paperwork?
That's a great
And not
question.
even in the necessary legal sense, but should we be seeking out, like, hey man, just to make sure, do y'all know anybody like this? Should that conversation be something that's more regular?
Yeah,
And that's
Yeah,
all. Yeah,
it
that's a
should
great
be.
question.
yeah, it should be because it comes back to the real safety situation. Like if we really gonna take the initiative to secure these spaces that we gonna be in, those are the tough conversations that we have to have. I give you a perfect example, right? Remember, any of the Black Lives Matter movements that have taken place, right, over the last 10 years of just anytime there was a up what's the word, like, I don't know, a bubble up of mass protests at a certain point in time. So like thinking Freddie Gray, Philando Castile, uh, Mike Brown, like anytime there was something specific that happened and everybody started paying attention, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
In those moments within our community, right? You're having conversations about between men and women of women feeling like y'all want me to and come out here and stand next to y'all and protest the value of your life and how much your life matters and all of that when some of these dudes that are standing out there have assaulted me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it becomes a situation where if we're going to do the actual work of trying to secure the space, yeah, those conversations have to happen. Like, how can you go out here and stand next to this person if that's never going to be atoned for? How do you
And
get to that point? And when is there going to be accountability for that? What does accountability look like within the community of how we deal with that? Like, all of these conversations have to happen. But when we get to certain points of just being like, me and my crew don't be on that type of shit, I don't know, and then you just get back to doing what you're supposed to do, and you're ignoring, whether it be on purpose or just by that's how
Sign of
you
the
are.
time. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you are actively ignoring, or not, I don't want to say actively, but you are ignoring a good amount of the real reality that half of your community is dealing with. And
and
that
so, just for your part, that's why I want to make sure the question is specific, because I do agree the conversation should be had. I think we all agree on that. I'm specifying more, even for those that might inadvertently ignore some. When I say seeking the conversation, as in when you pull up on somebody, you are verbally asking, hey, do y'all, and because most of the times it's again, in that situation, it's usually not y'all's immediate, it's not the homie, and sometimes you can't even get direction on it, because most of them aren't going to be like, yeah. that's me.
That's
You
yeah. That's
almost have to wait till actions occur to either see it yourself or be told, kind of like in Bodega's situation. So I'm more so specifying like directly attacking, verbalizing, hey, who you know, and having those styles of questions vetted. Should that be done more? Was
now.
is the question I'm asking.
I hate to answer a question with a question, but it's just because what Nick said into your question, it brought up something real tricky for me in that, and it's the, and I hate to bring it up, but it's like, how do you even get into that space of, like you said, a third party associate, fourth party associate that you don't even have a rapport with? How do you get into that space to get there, um, without scrutiny? Because let's say you trying to get into that relationship to build. What questions do you ask to get into that? Because again, if what research can we do to actually prove yay or nay? That's
Um,
where I asked in that question.
my knee jerk reaction to that is, at least for me, being due diligent with the practice of, as soon as I see something and I know that's your man's, or like you, I'm associated with him through you. However I got introduced to this person, unless if it was a direct interaction, I'm going to the source. Hey, I noticed this. Tell me something. Like, you know him better than me, and I'm having to immediately address that. As soon as something look a little bit funny, we getting straight to it.
And that's where
Asking the
I
question
and,
and
but see,
being direct on it.
and I'm not as a debate, but it's where like these are like genuine questions that I'm thinking. I also assume the common person would think of too. What if you're saying to address it when you get a concern, right?
Mhm.
What if you don't ever see that concern for 2 years? Like, and that's where I say, because it's like the addressing, and like, because for us, we say, well, if you knew this person for 2 years and then a situation happened, how did you not vet those 2 years?
Because
Yeah,
I think
How
that's where
did a
the
person
failure part.
realistically become able to vet that too?
Nah,
I
I
mean,
think that's the
yeah,
failure part that both Nick and I, my bad, Nick and I both are highlighting as, when you get in that comfortability, you may not be asking. And if we're about community, the part of whenever you get to know somebody, I think you should be checking to see who they are and who are they about.
Right.
Who, as in, who are they around? Who are you kicking? Like, asking those casual questions, like, yeah, man. So when you're not by yourself, like, you be involved in groups, you be kicking it, you go hoop, like, trying to get a gauge of what you look like in that crowd. I should probably be around that crowd. If we're building a community anyways, and I'm getting to know you, I would like to see what else you about. So it takes that one or two times to actually get outside and be like, okay, cool. This is kind of the whoever you introduced me to first. You brought me around these people, and I'm getting to know them people as much as I can in the moments. And it's like, something might be a little weird here. Let me figure out what's going on. To me, that if we're about the community building process, you're gonna have to involve yourself within that person's community to validate each other. Because each one of us, similar to the conversation you and I had the other day, Nick, is like, you bring us to the table, and one of us has probably been introduced, whether it be in the group chat, and then we've also introduced you to people that you see. This is what I do,
yeah,
right? Like, so
yeah,
now Nico solid, and by the time I talked to Bodega, I got an idea. Same with Rose. Same, you know what I'm saying? There's someone there to
yeah,
validate your jacket.
yeah, yeah. Bodega. Yeah, I know you ain't waiting a minute. I ain't know if you had something.
Nah, I mean validation is tough. I don't know. Communities take different forms and different things. I try my very best to listen to my community in its totality. And that starts with me ensuring that I create a safe space for people to actually be listened to, and not just, hey man, we cool, whatever case, but like, if you got something on your heart, if you got something on your mind that you actually need to discuss, then I am open and vulnerable enough and will extend my own vulnerability to show you that this is a safe space. With that being said, the communities that I'm a part of talk.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so, if something come through the grapevine, all right, you know what I'm saying? Let's go see about, like, especially like, the music scene or other scenes in Atlanta, or like, these kind of things where everybody kind of knows everybody. These conversations happen, if they're a third party or a fourth party, and some conversations have happened, and like I'm in the space, I'm gonna ask a question. It ain't got to be in front of everybody. Don't nobody got to know what we talking about. But I'm gonna ask, hey, what's this I'm hearing about you?
Yeah.
What you know what I'm saying? And what and like and I mean the other thing is like I'm be honest, and I kind of wish Rose was I kind of wish Rose was on this episode because I feel like he would have a lot of retort. But um I'm in the business
We
of
c-
believing most women. That's
we could
just
have a
like,
conversation though. Even
you know what
even
I'm
if Rose
saying?
not here, like exploring both of those options. When
You know
you
what I'm
say
saying? Like,
retort, like
hey, hey,
what are you thinking?
what I mean is
Or
like
example of a retort.
I don't have an example of a retort because I'm not Rose. I have no clue what he gonna say on any day, any week. But I feel like his overall takes would be a lot more moderate than progressive, right? And that's not me
Okay.
speaking for him or anything like that. That's just what I'm saying. Because what I'm thinking is I'm thinking we sound like a bit of an echo chamber at this point. Um, but yeah, it's just you got to have those conversations. If you hear something, you got to say something.
I want to
How,
go ahead, finish.
however it happens after that point is what happens. But like, yeah,
I want to put a pin right there, just to say this point. Echo chambers, like I know the negative connotation that comes with echo chambers in certain situations, especially
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to certain beliefs, right? When beliefs have the ability to be challenged and you just don't engage in the actual challenge when they're being presented, I understand that. But in these types of conversations, for me at least, particularly when we talking about rights or women or just oppressed communities and trying to deal with that, I don't see the need necessarily to have a, a fucking like a counterpoint. Most like if it ain't valid or like coming from a place of actually trying to fix or help, and it might just be
hmm
misguided or whatever the situation is. But like if we sitting here talking about the safety of women and the ways to go about unpacking the patriarchy also help women be more safe and heal the men in the process of that. Like, what I'm saying? Like what voice
what's the
what
counterpoint?
voice on
Yeah,
this
yeah,
joint is gonna be on here like, but I think like nigga
yeah. Nah,
move.
nah. I mean, I
No,
don't, I don't mean it in that way.
No,
I mean,
I know
like,
you're not saying
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I mean like generally,
well,
like
not
just
there's some you said though that I think should be just zoom in a little bit. I agree with you, Nick. There shouldn't be a counterpoint. What Bodega said though is something that I don't think is talked about enough. When within that range of moderate to progressive, like not necessarily even that I'm trying to push against it. Like if
Yeah.
you say you were moderate, it's just it might be the hesitancy, or it might just be on a mix of conservative and progressive, depending on whatever the topic is for you. That that range is, I think, where the most impactful conversation is possibly being missed in any of these types of movements.
And right to your point exactly, the problem with that is the generalizations because you can't get to
Yes.
those people because of generalizations.
And part of that also too is it needs buy-in from both parties. Like our female counterparts, it needs that buy-in as well. So if there's even discourse on their side
Mhm.
about where it should be and whatever that respective movement is, like outside of just the black movement in general, when we get to the gender specific ones, you have mixed reviews even amongst them. Like they're neither side is a monolith, so it adds a little bit of variance. But the moderate to progressive, we stick there because
I
you're
want to,
right. There shouldn't be a counterpoint to, you
yeah,
know what I'm
and
saying?
Yeah.
to the moderate to progressive point, right? I could be standing on an island with this, but I don't believe in centrists. I don't believe in independence, for lack of a better, like, oh, I'm not left, I'm not right. It's like there's the side for me. There's the side of rights and the progression and safety of those, and there's the side of the restriction of rights. and the danger that comes with that. And I know that could be a binary and just looking at it, but I think a lot of times, I think a lot of people try to play in the neutral, central, moderate. I'm not too much this way, but I don't really trip on that either. It's like, so where are you at though? Where do you actually stand? So I don't know, but that could just be me. But I look at some of these conversations in that way too, of like, what are
I
you
think
moderate about in
I
women's
think I
rights?
think
What do
I think that
you?
would be a good one-off if we
Yeah, we
like
can. Yeah,
if we move this conversation more political and like what the political implications of like a conversation like this actually means. I think that'd be a good another one-off, but like it's not something we gotta dive into.
yeah, not right
Yeah,
now, not right now.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah.
hold on, hey Nick, but I would say to that point that you made though about it, like the binary thing, what it is that it should be you're either, and not even political, this is just in
Or-
sense, you're
yeah,
either
like
right
humane.
or left. No, just
Mm,
follow me. You should either be, you're either what you said, right progression, or like onto the restriction. The problem is there is the intersectionality of the thought processing. You can be over here with the main majority of these things. There's probably most likely something where you over here that you do lean in a thought. And the problem is the muddying of the water of, man, I think I lean a lot over here, but I say I'm over here. So actually let me be in the middle.
yeah.
A lot of people try to hold on to that binary.
but but that reinforces my idea of like, oh, I think I actually am kind of over here, but I know all of the aesthetic of it is over here, so I'm gonna just play it in the middle. So it's like it's cool. It's like, yeah, but if I ask you for real, you over there. You're not
And
in
I,
the
and
middle.
I think that's something that people, they don't do the true thinking behind, because because rights and lefts have gotten so extreme.
Mm,
It's the no. You probably do have some thoughts that are on on the opposition. That's the thing. It's so pro op. Is
mm,
that's the big thing.
So
You are
so
always
with
probably gonna have a thought over there.
mm.
Doesn't mean you are over there though, and that's how people take it.
I got you.
within that conversation too, because I do think sometimes, to your point, Nick, people may not have an intentional thought of centrism,
Mm,
right? Like, it, and the way that they're living it out, it might have to be a situation presented, then they give an answer, as opposed to, because I agree with you with those that is like, you're intentionally trying to stay down the middle, and it's just, nigga, pick a side, bro. Like, don't be don't be lame about it. Pick a side, and
as my
within,
girl would say, real quick, not to cut you out, as my girl would say, the devil owns the fence.
yeah, like pick a side, and then there's some who's just like it might have to be presented to them. But where I want to go with the conversation in these types of moments is trying to at least vocalize out loud, even though it's just us four. And then if there's someone that's listening, they add to it, but vocalizing out loud ground rules, quote unquote, or foundational pieces of it. Because when we're asking what should we do, and then we say something like conversation, to me that still leaves a little bit of vagueness, because it's easy to say conversation, or not
Right.
vagueness, that's not the right word. It leaves the
Ambiguity.
opportunity for us to start that
The
that
back.
pathway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say conversation, like, vocalize that. What would that look like for you when you come in and say, like, what are those words for us? What would that be for you in pressing that issue, or what would be the direct step of addressing that type of thing?
Well, I mean, I
You
know
pull
for
up in
me,
conversation, y'all locking in with homie, you just, you know what I'm saying?
uh, I don't know, because I'm pretty just apparent in like what when I'm speaking just generally of like what my values are type shit. Like, these are the lines I have, these are the things I don't play about. If you playing about these, you gotta go type of thing. But I could just say that up front. Like, yeah, bro, when it come to women, when it come to children, I don't play about that. So if you got kids and you don't take care of them, get away from me. If you got women around you and if you are with a woman and anytime you talking to me about that woman, it's always something bad, you will not be around me. If any women around you or that tend to be around you tend to have something negative to say about you, whether it be about them feeling uncomfortable or just about you being a dickhead, whatever it is, I don't deal with motherfuckers who make women uncomfortable. I
Okay.
you know what I'm saying? So like I make women uncomfortable or make kids unsafe. You
I might have a more specific example because my question kind of stems. Shout out to Pops. One of the things he had told me and my older brothers is like, hey man, when you come around the dude, somewhere in your first set of questions, just kind of ask him how he feel about his mom and if he got sisters. And depending on what his feedback is and how he go about that conversation about mom dukes or his sisters, kind of he's like if that
oh okay. In
what
that way
that's
I'll
your
probably
that's a baseline. It's like he's giving you the intro. These are the people that he grew up with. So if you feel a way about that, there should be some follow-up questions or actions
yeah.
based on what's
That's
said.
a
You know what
very
I'm saying?
valid question.
Yeah,
That's a very
yeah,
that's a
that
very
is a
valid
valid
question.
question. That's a
That's
valid question.
and I'm gonna be honest. I'm not trying to make a joke, but that question, that's a question that men lose, but like that's a question that women use as a tactic, though.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Like that's a
Mm-hmm.
legit question that women use.
mhm.
So
Yeah,
and that's why it's so easy for it to get lost on us. Like that's a valid question.
right.
That like
Because
thank
for
you, Ray,
us,
for
it
saying that
shouldn't just
because
it
I
shouldn't
never
even
even
just
thought
be a
about like
women's
let me say that.
because
Yeah,
it was to him that's a insight to your honor.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100.
Because whether that's mom dukes is like with the full elaboration. His way about it was without something extreme happening, they still got your family name or your blood, one of the two. Without something, without mom like going out of her way to hurt you or sis going out of their way to hurt you, they still got
Yeah,
that attachment. So at minimum, what does the respect look like? You
Mhm.
can hate somebody, but you
yeah,
still should
and
be
still,
respecting it. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it,
yeah. I think I do that with like current
Look, hold
events.
on, I got a joke. And
Yeah,
that go back to when you say it's not gender roles; it should be responsibilities across the board. I'll give you that one. I'll agree with you there. I'll give you that one, bro.
look, what is it?
You got
Almost
masculine
20
or feminine.
episodes later.
I'll give you that
Hey
one, bro.
man, hey
Hey,
man.
look,
It's gonna always come. That's what. Hey, this is what I mean about intersectionality. That's the
hey,
part. It's gonna you gonna it's gonna
Yeah, I'll give you
always.
that one. Nah, that's a universal. That shouldn't
But
be
yeah,
yeah,
masculine, feminine, male or female. What does your honor look like on that? Like that. So that's to
yeah, for
my
sure.
question. That's
and
what. How do you make that happen when you outside? Because we all have the generalities, but
Yeah,
sometimes too, I don't want us to get lax in the I'm more so pushing you than necessarily challenging what you said. Because
yeah,
sometimes we get comfortable with even that small moment of, well, yeah, these are my values. I would assume you too.
yeah. No,
And you know what I'm
I
saying?
so
Yeah.
answer to answer your question, I usually do that through like conversation about specific stuff, whether it be going on in the world at the moment or it just be something that came up in conversation that we talking about. But like it's usually like if you knew around me, whatever, like I'm an asshole, bro. I'm gonna ask you about who you voting for. And like, sir, like little, you know what I mean, little goofy stuff like that, which you might not even think is that deep, but I do.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So when we getting into those type of like for example, like we was having a conversation about age gaps in dating one time while I'm at work. And new dude that had been around for a couple weeks, he done been in the section, he kicking stuff, whatever. And I straight, hey, yeah, dog, my sister 19. I'm at the time, I'm like, bro, I'm like 27. My sister 19. If anybody my age is running around with my sister, I'm coming to see you. If you 30 running around with somebody 19, if you da 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 running and dude go, I got a little 19-year-old. I said, yeah, you a weirdo. And we went from there. Like it's like a real, like, yeah, bro, I think that's weird. And then it's like, well, what you think is weird about it? Like, is this is grooming, this is and go through the whole joint. But like I usually do it through that. Like it'll be something going on, and I'm like, yeah, what you think about that? And
Okay.
there we go.
now hold on,
But
'cause I want to say something to Nick's point before that one, but the point you made earlier about the conversations with men. I think there's something that when you say those values and those lines, there's something that we also miss. We don't expand that conversation that deep of how you put it. We hold those conversations of values of you ain't no deadbeat, you don't beat women. That's like at a forefront. That's
It's
where
a
it
super
ends.
bare
That's
minimum.
that's it. When we need to go in detail of you shouldn't be hovering over one like something even as simple as that like
Mhm.
common sense
Mhm.
cues when you out in public like cuz you shouldn't if even if you like if you got a socially awkward friend you should be telling him and put him on game well I shouldn't be seeing you do these things around women still though
Mhm.
because if you
Mhm.
do we have an issue and I think that's something like in thinking about that, as you were saying, like that's something I think us as a whole conglomerate of men we lose sight in. We go to in everything we go to the extreme
Yeah.
of like,
And,
Yep.
oh, if
yeah,
you
we go
ain't
to the
violently beating them or if you ain't disregarding them, you
we go
cool.
to we go to the violent, the super extreme, and we go to the super self-interested. Like it ain't my
Yeah.
mama, it ain't my sister, it ain't my woo. So
Yeah.
that's their business type
But
shit.
also to the point of even at the statement, black men are the white men of it. We also like to be comfortable in the extreme and just somehow figure out a way to say, oh yeah, man. Like say for example, you're not necessarily a deadbeat, but you
You
only
ain't
be around
around.
your kids every now and then,
Yep.
You
right?
ain't around. Yeah.
Oh, it must have been something she did. You know, he got crazy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we'll give that type of leeway or
Which I'm gonna refer
limit.
you back to Bodega's
Hmm.
second time. Like it's yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you.
I had a question. I just blanked on it too.
My bad. That was I
But my
cut you.
bad. But
I cut
now,
you. My
even
bad.
to your point, because you and Ev, y'all haven't answered my question. Like y'all have conversation heat checks
Yeah, and I would say
or other method. It may not even have to be conversation. Do you other
for me it'd be
validity tests?
really um it would be like a heat check, and I say because I use one of my close friends because me and him are best friends because of our obstructing views, and so it's the real time of what you just said, dog. So I get to say it's a no, bro. Like this isn't how we go. And then starting to relay it of sisters, aunts, like, oh, cuz you got mainly women in your family. Let's really put this in a retrospect here. Because the only way, like Nick said, you only get into self-interested views. Well, let me go on and put that into play for you. Because when you put a nigga mama on that crossfire, they get some act right. Like especially when you a homie, when you put it in that
Mhm.
front street with them, you do. And so when it comes to those close associates, you have to get into that brutalness of it. Of hey, what if this was your daughter, your sister, your niece, like et cetera, et cetera. You
Yeah,
get
which
into
I
those real world values because like the Meg value. Let's be real. Men they hear the Meg conversation and like example, they ignore that one. So you got to get into super
Yeah.
personal.
yeah. Yeah.
To answer your question, Ray, I don't have heat check conversations per se. The reason why I don't is because I watch niggas. I'm a
Different
very,
method. All right.
I'm a very observant nigga, and I watch patterns. I watch hand movements. Like I sit back and watch. And like
Yeah.
Nico can tell you, like when we first met and like we was getting into like about each other and shit like that, and I would mention like, hey bro, like I feel like you feel like this because of this, and this, and he like shit.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, nigga? Why you even know that? But like I spend all day, every day watching niggas. And so like if I watch something and I hear something, now it's time for a conversation. Hey my nigga, what the fuck is going on over here?
And that's respectable
And
because your method also comes with a little bit of time,
Yeah,
like
that's
just
true.
a little bit of time, which is also fine too. Because what my follow up question to all three of y'all is, where's the where's the line between grab him and push him?
Grab him. The line
Like,
is
I
when you get
you a little
grabbed.
off.
I got you. When
Let
you
me
get
let me holler
grabbed,
at you. Yeah.
when you get grabbed, your reaction to being grabbed is gonna tell me how how many times I can attempt to grab you
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not inhumane in the sense of like, oh, you got one. Depending on what it is, obviously, depending on what it is, you got one. Some stuff you got one.
Right.
Assault, so, like, you got one out. Other stuff, uh, like you beefing with your girl. Y'all not in a domestic situation, but y'all beefing, and you might not have some of the tutelage to bridge the gap, get you over there. You might come out your body and have certain views that don't really align with what you say you think when you not hot about something. So yeah, we can
Yeah.
pull you to the side right quick. Hey, bro, I see you starting to lean into this type of rhetoric, lean into this type of, or I'm sensing, I'm getting this from you way more often than before. What's going on right here? Let's figure this out. If I'm met with nothing but refusal, combatants. Cool on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna try again. And if it's the same thing, no change whatsoever, depending on how I feel that day, that might be it. We might have to push you out. Like if I don't have the patience that day to think about grabbing you again, all right, bro, I'm cool. You gotta be over here. I'm letting the homies know, hey, yeah, bro, cuz excommunicated is what it is. If niggas come around on XYZ type of time, you know what time it is.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I got.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes with that of you only you only can push them after you. To me, I think, especially if it's your close homie, you only can really push them after you've at least given the honor and grace of trying to grab them. Now, what I say is the subjectivity of it is how many opportunities do they get? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm be honest, I used to be one of those people that would say, "Hey man, sometimes people don't get it on the 100th times. You might have to tell them 101." I
Yeah.
used to be one of
Yeah,
those,
it
but
depends.
and that's the point, Nick, because it is very
Depends.
dependent on certain things. Because certain topics like this, you can't extend that type of grace. Because in extending that grace, life is now futile. Because one wrong step, you're jeopardizing you and somebody on the opposite end. Like, and that's why it's very a slippery slope of that. The moment you notice it or catch it in the wind or anything with someone that you are close to, you have to start to grab. And
So
oh, go ahead.
for you,
Mhm.
does that mean no forgiveness? Like, say for example, it didn't happen in front of you. This is something that they might have on their jacket from X amount of time ago. Is there no
Now I
forgiveness
will
once it's
see.
happened?
That's I would say that's tough for me to answer because I don't have short-term friend experience in that to say that answer to give you that answer. Of most of the people I'm friends with, it does literally go back now 10 plus years of college. So when 18 or middle school, grade school. So it's one of those scenarios where it coming out, we'd have been past that or potentially. So that's why I would say it is tough to answer that one. I will
But
say,
I could
t-
reword it then,
go
because
ahead.
in the essence of us pushing more for the community
Mhm.
aspect, you might come across that. So say you meet somebody, they got paperwork
Oh
on
no,
it
see, this is the thing.
from
If you have paperwork and
X
things
amount
of
of
that
time.
nature, it becomes a thing of like that's when you get into the conversation. Like doing that, I I might be getting extreme in my answer. That's why I'm trying to rephrase it because I was about to go extreme only.
Or say not even tangible that you could grab. Like say that was the word about dude.
Well,
Then
see, if that's the word, we got to have a communication. We have to have a talk
back then
because
that was the word. Like he
we got to
he
have a
he apparently straightened out, or at
we
least by
still got to
his
have a talk,
essence.
and the reason why
Okay.
is because even if it's hearsay, I have to know who you are because if you're in my circle, I'm accountable for what you did in the past, even if I didn't know you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the part of it where
Mm-hmm.
if you're in my presence and I'm in your presence, and people see us together, we're associated. We're guilty by association. Whatever idea comes up from another person.
Nah, that's why
So
I asked. The question was, is there forgiveness?
it could now there will see there could be grace in the forgiveness, but there's still an action that has to be there,
Hmm.
and that's the thing. It could be a I give grace to your past, but again, that's still your past, and to where you are now doesn't align with who I've been, and that's a reality too. I can forgive you for what you did, but what
Say
you
that.
did doesn't align. What you did to get to who you are now doesn't align with who I've been with. That's a consistency
Okay.
thing. I just explained consistency and behavior. That's what it was. Just because you're a perfect man now, if you did some heinous things, I still got to hold you to some degree of that because guess what?
That's in you.
You could do that again tomorrow.
Yeah, it's
And
that.
and that's you could the person on the receiving end will say that's wrong, but that's up to me
Right.
because also I know in my heart of hearts that ain't me because it's never been me.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I say that's where it gets that it is a slippery slope of that grab and push. But if you'd had that on your jacket, and that's a conversation where it's brought up and people know about it, hey, we got to talk because
Good.
if it comes up and then another hearsay rumor comes up, hey, he did this 10 years ago. Man, I just heard of potentially this 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, and it's a lie, but you in my circle.
Yeah,
I'm associated with you.
because you do
Yeah.
have to have the conversation, and I ask because on the clean, eventually, as a community builds, we gonna have to cross paths and potentially intermingle with people that might have a little smudge marks.
And yeah, and Ray,
You
let me
feel?
let me let me
So
not to cut you real quick. That
mm,
what you just explained was what Nick said when women say, "Oh, you want me to come out here and support too?" When that same man out there just did X, Y, and Z to me.
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's exactly what you just explained. Like what
Hmm.
No,
what you asked. So that is the we back at it again from 40 minutes ago.
yeah,
Type
no,
shit.
How?
and
What do
because
we
and
do?
because we are acknowledging that, that's why I'm asking some of the questions that I'm asking, because if we're trending in a direction, eventually we'll have to cross paths,
Yeah.
Yeah. Bodega, I
right?
do
Like
want to get
eventually you'll have to cross paths. Yeah.
I did want to get your answer to Bodega, and then let's get to like where the T app is today and go ahead and close out.
Okay. Ray, to answer your question, I think is there's two questions in there. There's one question about forgiveness, and then there's one question about when to grab and when to push. And my answers to both of these are very simple. There's a level to a grab, and there's a level to a push, and I will not elaborate any further. But I give you twice on
I
the
understand.
grab tip. I give you, you know what I'm saying? I give you twice. If I got a push, if it's a light or a heavy push, depends upon your next actions. It's out of my hands at that point. But you know what I'm saying? As far as forgiveness goes, I echo a lot of what Ev is saying is that I can forgive many things. I can forgive, you know what I'm saying? I've been in unfortunately I've been in situations where things that could have been forgiven weren't. And things were what they were as a result of that. So I can forgive many things. Does that mean it's in alignment with who I was in the past or who I am currently?
Yeah.
And
No.
if it's not like if it's like because there are certain principles that you know what I'm saying. I mean, as you grow, as you evolve, you know what I'm saying. Your moral standpoints change, maybe your religious views change. You know what I'm saying, those kind of things. But there are certain principles that are with you, and like those, I can't shake on those principles. Whatever
Yeah.
case, it was 10 years ago, it was 20 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever case. I can't shake on that principle, bro. At one point, you thought this was okay.
Hmm.
Somebody reinforced that thought for you. You may know better now. Congratulations. I'm so glad that you do. I can't do nothing about that. I can't do nothing with it. And I refuse to.
Bodega, 1 second. Let me interject with something. Hey, everybody watching, anyone listening, I got a public bet for you. I got $1,000 for you if you could come up with a valid reason why you could forgive somebody why they wanted to rape or violently abuse a woman and why they're perfectly fine today. I'll give you that if you can give me a valid reason why they're perfectly okay and
To
why it's
that,
perfectly okay to do those actions for them.
to that, I think I'll just go ahead and say sometimes God takes the responsibility of understanding for me.
Because you can't tell me a godly
That's what
way
I'll tell
of
you.
that forgiveness. Sorry.
That's above me.
Yeah.
That's above me. God takes the responsibility of understanding that from me, and I appreciate Him for that.
Ray, you want to give us the T on T?
So now at this point, what T is going through as an app, because some of y'all bums out there is facing both obvious backlash throughout its app store reviews and ratings, just from people jumping to the conclusions that it was only for spreading drama and gossip. Only critique to that, y'all did name it T. That's my genuine only critique, bro. Like you didn't give yourself any high favors, but I understand the marketing behind it. I am a businessman at the end of the day. If you want to get something to catch fire while you take that security risk and I hope you could get that recoup a lot faster, I get it. But there's a lot of there's a lot of backlash since things have been leaked out in information where there are certain scenarios that have been presented as scandalous, and there's suits from there. And on the other side, or similar, there's also a class action lawsuit that the app is going through because of the data breach and what information has gotten out. So this is everything from date of births, addresses, some social security numbers, which might throw me because I'm trying to figure out why you would submit that. Why you would submit that to an app in the first place. That's just me. Like I don't know what about this says give you my social. But social security numbers have gotten out, and approximately over 72,000 images, including selfies, photo, like people's full driver's license, things like that. It says over 1.1 million private messages exchanged between users covering sensitive topics like abortion and cheating. Have been, hitting the net, because that's where some of the slander also comes, where it's like somebody might have been saying something about something that wasn't true at all. So it is going through a lawsuit. I don't know when that whole process is supposed to necessarily get started in the court side, but that's where it's at. It's unfortunately legal side, and then it's already hit the depths of deep Reddit and 4chan. So
I have two comments, and then I'm done with this conversation. But okay, ladies, right? This part is particularly for you. First things first, this app was not intended to be used like those Facebook group chats that y'all be in there talking about some. Do we have the same man?
Yeah.
This is the mess, whatever case. That app wasn't intended like this. So for the group of you who decided to utilize it this way, which ultimately led to its popularity, which ultimately led to the hacking, come on now. Like come on. And the second point is, ladies, y'all know how y'all say like us men will never know if you cheating on us because y'all do it way quieter or whatever the case. My point in that is there are many things that are just for y'all. That are just for y'all. And you should treat those things that are just for y'all the same way y'all supposedly treat cheating. There's no reason why there should have been TikToks about if the T app. There's no reason for any of that. There's no reason for me to I should not be able to see that. I shouldn't know. I, as a man, I should have no radar of the T app in any of the dealings, in any of the conversations, in any of the, whatever. Like, there's no reason for that. We got to do a better job at protecting y'all for facts. The conversation begins and ends there. The reality is that you also need to do a better job at protecting the sensitive information that you have.
And with that, this has been another episode of Keep It Clean One-Offs. These episodes drop every Friday. Keep It Clean podcast drops every Tuesday. We appreciate y'all. Keep it a buck, keep it a bean, keep it clean. We out.